Hello, it's me. So, over the weekend and this morning, I was catching up with various highlights from the Your Party conference, their inaugural conference where they are going to birth the party. And I kicked off with watching Zara Sultana's speech. And she apologised for her part in the membership portal debacle in an environment where the media are waiting for anything to pounce on to make your party, Corbyn, Sultana, et al. Look weak. This was a massive unforced error, and they could have well done without it. But there were rumblings. Members of your party were barred from entering conference, and there were rumours that they had, a group of people had been, or were planning rather, to disrupt conference, to heckle. And that did actually happen during Jeremy Corbyn's speech. There was someone shouting in the background. But these people who were barred from attending conference, when it came to them explaining themselves, the only reason he could see that he was being banned from attending was because he was supporting Zara Sultana's stance on multi-leadership, i.e. not having just one person in charge of the party, but in fact having, as the party has been doing, two people at the top, in this case Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn. However, when Jeremy Corbyn himself was interviewed about this, he said his view on it was that these people were in fact members of other political parties. And the rules for your party state that you can only be a member of your party, which to me sounds quite reasonable, frankly. Either way, it's clear that there are issues, to say the very least. So I was looking for something firm on illegal immigration and trans rights. With regards to the messaging on illegal immigration, there really wasn't much. There was just literally immigrants aren't the issue. And yet I'm not sure that I agree entirely with that. For me personally, I think there are bad people coming over with these people who were seeking refuge. And what I would have liked to have seen is a statement of intent telling people who want to be involved in your party, but who also have a more firm view on immigration, or I should say illegal immigration. I've got no problem with immigration. My parents were immigrants. But when it's clear that people who potentially are risky to be allowed into the country, people who may have had a criminal record, or if they get here and then they commit a crime, just get them out quickly. Britain doesn't need them. Criminals should be removed. If we have an opportunity to remove them, do so in a humane manner, obviously. So my view on trans rights, I believe anybody should be allowed to be whoever they want to be. I firmly believe that. I don't have any issue with people wanting to, and this is always controversial when you're somebody like me who's not steeped in this, but wants to kind of contribute to the conversation. If you want, as a man, to be a woman, to dress up as a woman, to pretend to be a woman, to go further, to have surgery to be a woman, and have that identity legally, I can support that. Not a problem. Life is difficult enough. And if you feel you were born in the wrong body and you're of an age, and this is another issue, you're of an age where you can make those decisions, go crazy. And you'll have my full support. I disagree, however, and this is possibly the controversial bit, that men, even men who have had hormone treatment, all that kind of stuff, they shouldn't be allowed to compete in women's sports. Because time and time again, we've seen examples of men, mediocre men, Men who wouldn't do well in the male-oriented sport of their choice go into women's sport and dominate. And I think the message being given there to the world, after everything that the suffragettes went through and other feminists and female rights campaigners, the message that's being given is that men can do what you do and they're better at it. Men are better women than women. What are women fighting for if it's not to be fully recognised as who they are and not have men hijack them and become better women than the women? And the thing that informs me most in this is the various women competitors who have taken a knee, who've refused to compete because of this. And if I'm going to listen to anybody in this matter, it's not going to be a politician trying to score political points. It's not going to be a trans activist acting in whatever way they feel is appropriate for their cause. It's going to be a woman who feels threatened by the fact that a man has entered their sport and is competing. That is the only reasonable voice to listen to, in my opinion. I stand to be corrected, but I don't think I'm going to be. The Supreme Court ruled not too long ago that the biological sex of a person upon birth is, for legal purposes, the sex that they will be treated under as they go throughout their lives. I think unless they do go into full surgery, I think that changes then maybe. Again, I stand to be corrected, and if I need correcting on that, then please do correct me. And so that's what I was looking for in the conference, and because those are the things that really mattered to me, as well as obviously the corruption, the political corruption that we find ourselves in, the hopelessly captured political system that we have with lobbyists and private concerns interfering in what are public matters. For me, there was a real sense that there are people like myself who desperately want new politics, who want to change in politics, who realised from watching conference that you can't have your cake and eat it. But I agree with most of what they're doing. Is that enough for me to get involved with your party? Yes, it is. It is. Because ultimately, we need change. And your party appears to me, at least, to be the party that can affect it. There aren't many choices out there. Reform, I think, is more of the same. Nigel Farage is a banker. Apparently the Reform group is being bankrolled by hedge fund managers and bankers. I don't know how true that is. I've not done research, but that's the talk on the street. And bankers are establishment, through and through. So that's my view on that. But your party is being born. It must be born. And the message has to get through. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And the few in this case were the people who were barred from attending conference because there may have been difficulties with letting them in. Also, I don't know where you stand legally there. I always thought you could only have one political affiliation at a time. So the overall message for me was, this is democracy. True democracy. Messy. Uncomfortable. And frankly, it was kind of glorious because of it. True democracy tells us we don't agree on everything. And the friction is what's required. But at some point, that friction needs to be resolved. And it will be resolved in the time-honored fashion of exclusion. people will be sidelined, and they have to become okay with that for the greater good. Because, as I've just said, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. So do let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like, subscribe, and share. It would help me immensely and help the channel, of course. Until next time, this is me signing off. Do look after yourselves.